Hello, my name is JoAnne Fowler, and I am the host of the Get Local podcast. This is our first episode, and we're so excited to be with you today. We are going to have entrepreneurs that are local business owners on our shows, and we're going to have real conversations about their struggles, their challenges, and their successes. And today, I am so excited to have JoAnne Fowler, the founder of Get Local, with us, and we're going to start with him today. So welcome, Justin. We're so glad that you're on the show with us today. So how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Well, Justin, tell us a little bit about Get Local.
So Get Local is, it was started as an influencer page or unintentional influencer page, I guess. I was a real estate agent and I listened to a lot of different thought leaders. And one of the things that they really brought up was, how do you bring value outside of just your product that you provide? So as a real estate agent, obviously I can help you sell a house. I can help you list a house, all those different things. But outside of that, what else do I talk about? So I really thought, man, a good real estate agent should know the area, and more than anything, they should know everything local. So I love local businesses. I love supporting them. And so I came up with the concept of Get Local, like bringing you closer to home, showing you all the cool hidden gems inside your community. And that was the concept of Get Local.
Awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about who you are.
I grew up a musician. I was a drummer since the age of 4. I took drum lessons and played music all my life and figured I was going to be, the typical rock star. I was going to play in a band, make lots of money, and travel the world and do the typical rock star thing. And once I realized that may not happen, I decided to get a real job. Not knocking on the musicians or anything. I just didn't make it. But I figured if I couldn't be around or in music, I want to be around it. So I chose the entertainment path. I went and did live entertainment for some of the largest companies in the world. I worked for companies like Disney, American Express, Google, and I traveled around doing a lot of shows, multi-million-dollar shows. And I really learned through that how to manage teams, how to put structure in place. And the end of my career journey, I actually landed with a company as a director of project management, helped them build up a team, helped them implement a lot of standard operating procedures or SOPs, restructured departments, took profitability from single digits to double digits. And it just was one of those things that was kind of natural for me. So, when I got to the end of that road, kind of rode that corporate ladder, was excited to be at the top, had everything that I wanted, title and everything. It just didn't feel like it was fulfilling. I wanted something different. So decided to take the path of being an entrepreneur, start a business of my own. And what I really wanted to do inside of that was help businesses. So I took the consulting route, went and got my certification and became a business coach and consultant. And now we help businesses Get Local. As we started that journey, we really realized that a lot of businesses just needed help. As much as we want to give them exposure and show them all the cool places inside the community, a lot of these business owners just struggled to find a support system, someone who could help them. So when I started the business consulting side, I really wanted to give the opportunity to help those businesses find community, but also find the help they need inside their business.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of stuff that you want to do for these businesses. So tell me a little bit more about what you do. I know what you wanted to do. So what do you do with Get Local?
So we created, or what I do with them is I do some one-on-one. We do corporate training as well for large businesses. But more than anything, we created a community for business owners. So the big thing that I realized when I went into consulting was that it's a very expensive piece. So if someone wants to hire a business consultant or a business coach, two different pieces, but if someone wants to hire that person, it's a very expensive piece. So the way that you can lower that cost is through a group style teaching. So the more people that come in, they can share those costs, and then ultimately you can teach more at once and drive those costs down. So I came up with the idea to do a community for businesses, but more than anything, I wanted to create it in a way that could allow businesses to enter in at any point. So if you're at a startup phase or if you were far along in your business, it was almost like you could choose how much help you could afford or how much help that you needed. And we could actually a la carte it in a way to help you. So if you could do one-on-one, I'll do one-on-one with you. If you can afford to come in at a very low stage in the community and just get entry-level help, we can do that. Or if you've got the funds and the ability to really hire our coaches one-on-one, we can do that as well.
Wow, Justin, that sounds awesome. So what do you think most businesses need or business owners need when they join your community? What are they looking for?
So, the one thing that I feel like is the most valuable inside of Get Local is the community. A lot of business owners that I've talked to and I've coached with, they're lonely. It's the entrepreneurship journey for a lot of people seems like this exciting thing. You're doing this thing for yourself, you're doing it for your family, but the reality is that sometimes it's kind of a roller coaster ride of emotions. So what we found is the number one thing that people have enjoyed the most inside the community is the community itself. We bring together business owners who are struggling with the same thing as you. They are dealing with the same problems as you. And more importantly, different than some of the other groups that are offered for mastermind style communities, we're in your community. So the business owners that are inside this group, they're in your community. They are your business owners working in your city, struggling with your problems. So I think that a lot of them find that while the coaching and the other content and curriculum that we give them inside the community is really helpful, the most value they found is the community itself, the people around them. So
I really like that. We used the word struggle. And, I think a lot of podcasts are out there today, and what they do is they bring these business owners in and then they talk about all of the great successes and how everything is wonderful. And, the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow and everybody's just working to get there. But there's real struggles that businesses deal with. And that's why, our conversations with business owners, I want them to be raw and I want them to be real. I want to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, because all of that comes along with being a business owner, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So talk to me. We're being raw today. Talk to me a little bit. Has it just been easy? I mean, are you making tons of money? You're a millionaire now and, you're ready to go out and
I took
start
my
more?
private helicopter here, actually. No. It's funny because, again, you listen to a lot of the different podcasts. I think we went back and forth a lot about starting this just because there's these podcasts that talk about all the fun things that happen inside of a business. And I think the reality is there's a lot of struggles that happen as well. There are days that I would literally, I'd go home and my wife would be like, how did it go? And I'm like, everything's great. Like, I'm going to conquer the world. This is the best thing I've ever done. And then the next day I'll come home. She'll be like, how was your day? I'm like, I quit. Like, I'm going to go back into corporate America. It's easier. I'm going to let someone else pay my paycheck. But it's that roller coaster of emotions that I think a lot of entrepreneurs feel inside their business. But what I really want to do is create a space where they could come and talk about that. Because, I think that what I tell the people inside our community a lot of times is there's power in the community because we can share struggles together. And sometimes the real value is when I'm struggling with something and I go home and I talk about it, my wife can console me. She can talk to me about it. But when I go and talk about it with someone else who's struggling with the same problem, there's value in having people who can share in that and tell you you're not alone. So a lot of the business owners that we've worked with, when they're like, oh man, this is messed up, that we've had this problem or we did this. And I'm like, oh yeah, I just talked to like 4 other people that are having the same problem. They're like, really? So they don't feel alone. Just knowing that struggle that they have isn't unique. It's not just something that they're experiencing. There's a lot of other people out there that are struggling with the same thing. So I think that through this podcast, it's going to be really interesting to be able to share those struggles, share the victories, but also share the struggles so that some people out there can go, oh, yeah, me too. And I think that value is pretty powerful for some of those business owners.
Well, thank you for sharing that. So you're a new business, right? When did you originally launch Get Local, officially as the business community that you have today?
Yeah, so the business community officially launched November of last year. December, we had the meeting, but I opened it in November and kind of started working through the ideas. We had an official launch in December, and we've been a community style since January. We've made some adjustments, obviously, and have still some to go. But I think that's part of being a business owner is obviously you got to strategize and you got to keep making adjustments. Sometimes you have this great idea of this awesome product and people don't want it.
So you can't be afraid to modify along the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Modify along the way. So you've been in business, really, we would say anywhere from 7 to 9 months, depending on which date you're looking at, right?
Yep.
So what would you say as a young entrepreneur, only 7, 8, 9 months in, what's been your biggest challenge so far?
I think the biggest challenge so far for us is that I feel like what we're selling is almost like air in a bottle. Business consulting or business coaching is one of those things that it's not tangible. It's not a product you can actually get. So if I was selling you a beverage, I could give you that beverage. You could taste it and see if you liked it. And then if you did, you'd buy it again. If you didn't, then you didn't have to. For us, business coaching or consulting is a long-term product. It's something that is this mythical creature to a lot of people. It's like, what are you selling me? It's like, oh, it's business coaching. I'm going to help you improve your business. How? Well, there's lots of steps involved and we have to make adjustments along the way. But the reality is most of the time that actually depends on the person we're coaching. I can give you all the secret weapons and all the secret tools, but if you don't go back and apply them inside your business, you won't see it. And even if you apply them today, likely you won't see results for a long period of time. So for us, I think the biggest struggle is just for people to understand the value in some of the things that we're providing. That's definitely a unique piece, but I realize that that's not a reason to not do it. Obviously, people not understanding a product or how valuable it is the biggest struggle that anyone will have inside their business, because you think that what you're selling is the best thing in the world, but not everybody's going to agree with that, right?
Right. For sure. Well, what would you say is what is your greatest accomplishment so far? What is the thing you're most proud of?
I think just the people that we've brought in the community, the people that we've connected with. I love when I had my previous job, I always told my wife that I loved the business I was in, but what I loved more than anything was meeting people and leading people. So as we have met some really cool people on the way, as I've gotten out in the community and talked to people, I've just really enjoyed some of the connections we've made. Sharing those struggles together, being around people who care and want to do something good for themselves, it's just been very rewarding for me. So as much as I may not have seen, the private helicopter that I wanted to fly in on, just the reward of being a part of something like this and helping people do better has been rewarding for me for sure.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, what would you tell another young entrepreneur that's maybe 7 to 9 months in and they're having one of those days today, like you said you had earlier, where, I'm going to quit and go back into corporate America. What would you say to those young entrepreneurs today?
Quit now. I'm just kidding. Don't give up. I think the thing is that most people who aren't successful inside their business or have not made it as far as they like to, they quit. That's just the reality. And for the business owner who's struggling, find community, find a support system. It doesn't have to be the Get Local community. We would highly suggest that.
Yes, please join.
But, find community, because a lot of times if you can find someone to share in those struggles, what a coach and what a consultant does a lot of times is provide altitude. That's what I tell people is, the coach on a football team doesn't actually go out and play, you can have the best coach in the world, but the reality is that the players aren't applying what he's telling them to do, then it really doesn't matter. So it's important to find people who can help you inside your business, because a lot of times those struggles you have are because you don't have altitude. You're inside your business. You're doing that same thing every single day. You're applying the same, tactics to solving the problems. Sometimes just an outsider can help you to resolve a lot of those issues because they're not stuck inside of it. So I would definitely encourage that person to go and find some community, find some people who can help them inside their business, because most obstacles that I've found with people inside their business is not something that can't be overcome. Through recessions, through all the different difficulties inside of our society, if you watch the ebbs and flows of business, there's always been successful businesses. That doesn't mean that they haven't lost money or resources during those times, but most businesses are still sustained through pandemics and all kinds of other recessions. The reality is they made an adjustment that you didn't, because you just didn't have the skills or the knowledge to do that. So find someone who can help you apply that stuff.
That's great. Well, for Get Local, I know you said you have the community where they get on there, but I also understand you guys do events every month. So tell me a little bit about there's tons of events in the upstate that you can go to. What makes your events different?
So originally we wanted to do networking events. Coming from an event background, I've got a bit of a high standard, I guess, in my mind of what I want an event to look like. But I didn't feel like the networking events or the events that we went to in general around here for businesses were to the level of what I wanted. So we decided we were going to do our own networking events, but we were going to make them more of a connecting event. We really tell people that the value comes in the connections, not how many business cards you can pass out, but making some sort of connection where people remember who you are, not just oh, who's this business card? So we did that. And then what we realized was that really wasn't our heart. Our heart at Get Local is to teach. We want to help business owners to find those things that are going to help them inside their business, much like what I was talking about. So we took away the networking. As much fun as we had with that, it was really cool and fun. There's plenty of networking events here in Greenville or Spartanburg or all around in your area. And we do strictly teaching events. And the teaching events, there will be some networking. You've got opportunities to obviously meet those businesses. But the reality is we want to teach you things that are going to help you inside your business. So it'll be one of our coaches, one of us teaching, or we're going to bring in other business owners in the area, other thought leaders that can help you overcome certain obstacles inside your business. So we'll teach on various topics throughout the year. We're looking to do those twice a month. So
oh, fantastic. So how do you get people? I think one of the biggest challenges business owners have is time. And
Yep.
they're trying to figure out, how do I have time to do all of these events? How do I have time to get in this community? What would you say to those business owners? Because that sounds like that's who y'all are primarily working with, or business owners. So how do you get them to come to your events? How do you get them to participate in your community?
So, we really just, through various marketing tactics, we put it out in the community. We do a lot of networking ourselves. So we go to these networking events. And part of that's just, again, an understanding of what we're doing. We found that naturally a lot of businesses have gravitated to our events because we're one of the few that I've seen in the area that actually do a consistent teaching event. There are a lot of different great teaching events throughout the year, but not on a consistent basis. There's a lot of networking events that happen consistently, but again, it's just networking. There's business cards or conversations, but not real teaching. So we've had a pretty cool turnout so far, and a natural, organic audience that's come just because of the unique style of the event that we're doing. So that's been pretty exciting for us, for sure.
Well, I think that's interesting too. So you use the word unique. You're a little different than everybody else. So what does make you stand out? Obviously, there's lots of membership groups that you can join with other businesses in them, whether it's a networking group or a mastermind type community. What makes Get Local different?
So I think there's a few things that make us very different. One is that we have various tiers that you can join at. The lowest tier is like $100 for the whole year, all the way up to the highest tier, which includes like one-on-one coaching. We're transparent with our pricing. If you go on our website, you can see everything. You don't have to dig through like these different things to find out how much it's going to cost, to find out that it's $100,000 a year or some crazy price. What we do is we try to make it very real. The other part of that is that we don't offer contracts. A lot of these groups, they require a full-term contract. The reality is that coaching does take time. Again, this is that air in a bottle type thing that I was talking about. But we really feel like if you find value, you want to stay. And if you don't find value, you shouldn't have to fight to leave. If we really believe that the product that we're offering is as valuable as we think it is, you shouldn't have to fight to leave if you don't agree with us. So we don't require a contract. We will tell you that, again, this takes time. You should stay in the community for 6 months to a year to really start to see the differences that some of the tactics that we're going to ask you to apply will actually show up in your business. But we're not going to require you to stay that long. We want you to find value enough to stay inside the community organically, not because we're holding you to the flame,
Well, I can appreciate that. I think that is a great philosophy to have. And I think that in itself is a fantastic reason for people to join Get Local, for sure.
Yeah.
So who do you see coming? Are there small businesses, medium businesses, large businesses, and kind of what does those business levels look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that it's all businesses. One of the reasons why we created the tiered approach was because we felt like there was a really untapped market for assisting those smaller businesses. There's a lot of small businesses in the area, and in most places. We all love local. That's why the name is obviously Get Local. But there wasn't really this great support system for those businesses that offered training and help for them. So we wanted to allow them an entry point that was affordable, not cheap, but affordable, and give them different levels depending on where they were inside their business. So as you grow, we'll grow with you. If you can afford more, we'll give you more. But the certification that I got for a business consultant was actually built for very large businesses. 1 to 10 million was kind of their avatar for revenue. But we wanted to be able to talk to the businesses that may not be making that kind of revenue. So we created an entry point for them at a very, very low part. So we want to be able to help the larger businesses. We actually do. We've through our teaching, we've had larger organizations coming in and ask us to start doing corporate training.
Oh,
So
fantastic.
we're developing the curriculum right now to do the corporate training, do management style training. We do personality tests and stuff like that. We say fix the leader first. So we are doing larger businesses, but a lot of that's just kind of come organically because again we're doing something unique in that we have consistent teachings and we're talking about topics that are relevant to any leader at any level. And it's not, I tell people it's not magic, like what we're teaching isn't like this secret weapon that no one knows about. If you read leadership books, if you listen to podcasts, all that stuff, you're probably going to hear a lot of things that we talk about. But the reality is that we're going to help you do it a very systemized way. We're going to help hold you accountable. And so, yeah, we've attracted quite a wide range of people.
What about nonprofit? Do you guys?
We do, yeah. So actually, our lowest tier, which is the community, we have a private online business community. That one is actually free for nonprofits. We allow them to come in because we really want to support them. What we've realized is that nonprofits actually don't get a lot of support. If they want training or resources, they have to do fundraising to be able to get that. They have to get it approved through a board and all that stuff. So nonprofits really they need help just as much as all the rest of them. And a lot of the local ones in your community, they don't have this big corporate entity helping them either. So they need support, and we really have a heart for those nonprofits. So we allow them to enter in that lower tier at free, and then as they go up, we actually offer discounts for them as well because we really want to help the nonprofits be successful just as much as the for-profit businesses.
I love that, Justin. And I'll tell you, I'm a serial entrepreneur myself, and then I also came from 40 years of corporate experience. And luckily for me, coming from corporate, I was in corporations that gave extensive training. We were constantly in training. And so I was able to take that knowledge when I started my own businesses. I had that knowledge with me, so I was able to use some of that training from my previous employment. And then I also ran a nonprofit. But what I realized is, had I not had all of the background training that I had, I would have struggled even more to run that nonprofit and or to run my own business. So I love the fact that you guys are providing that corporate level training at a price that's affordable for those companies that are out there, because many companies fail because they don't have those bare bones, that backbone, as they say, for their organization. It sounds like that's what y'all are providing.
Yeah, and it's funny because, I come from corporate America. That's where I spent, obviously, the majority of my career. So for some of the entrepreneurs are like, well, what business have you built? So I can't necessarily, I'm building my own right now. Obviously, that's a part of what I'm doing. But the reality is like I've learned from some of the top corporate companies in the world. And that knowledge, again, it's not crazy secret knowledge. They're just doing things better than you are. They're applying these principles on a better level than you are. And that's why they're finding success. So all the big box stores and all the big corporations that are competing against these small businesses, it's not because they had more money than you. There's certain things they can do because they have more money, but they didn't get to that point because of the money. They got there because they just applied these principles. So it's not a secret weapon. It's just, you're just missing some of those things. You're trying to do it all yourself. And you're trying to approach it in the wrong way. So we're excited to be able to bring some of that corporate knowledge, like you said, and help these small businesses really apply some of that stuff on a smaller level.
So we talked about maybe who's a good customer for you. Let's talk a little bit about maybe who wouldn't want to use you, who, there's other resources available for them. So Walmart, some large chain store, or maybe someone who's a franchisee. Would those be good customers for you?
So they can be. I mean, it really just depends. Again, we've had the corporate companies coming to us recently to ask us to do some of their management training. That is a in-house piece that we're doing. So it's not necessarily inside the community. It's a separate piece that we offer. But our ideal customer inside the community will be those family-owned businesses, I guess, business owners more than anything. So
what about someone, I'm got an idea and I want to start a business, but I don't really know whether I want to be an LLC or I want to incorporate. Are those good customers for you? Good people for the community?
Those people, I would recommend that they at least join on the lower level. It's $100 for the year. So it's a very minimal investment for you to be able to get community and learn from some other business owners. You can ask them those questions. Our coaches are in that community and they can answer some of those questions. But the resource I'd really point them to would be like the SBDC or SCORE.
Right.
There's a lot of really valuable free resources. And as a startup, one of the big things that we want to do is, again, help you conserve costs so that you can be successful. If you're spending money on all these things that you can't afford, then you can't grow your business properly. So we don't want to be that extra toy that you're spending money on just because it's shiny and nice and you feel like you need it. We will tell you need it, but when you're ready. So check out SCORE, check out SBDC. There's a lot of government resources that can provide you with free coaching, free help, free setup for, LLCs or C Corp, S Corp, whatever that choice is that you make. But I would definitely tell you to explore those free resources first, but join that lower level so you've got the community. You can talk to some other business owners.
So now you keep saying coaches. So you have multiple coaches on your team that are a part of your organization?
We do. So we really wanted, as a business coach, when I went and got my consulting certification, I realized that one of the things they teach you is to be the expert of everything. So if you need marketing help, I can help you with marketing. If you need accounting, I can do I can literally do it all. But I realized from corporate America, that wasn't how it was inside of our organization. As we were successful, there wasn't one person. There was a CEO that may have visionary pieces, but he didn't do everything. He had teams of people who were specialists inside of this category. So my thought and my heart was to provide specialists inside of each area. So we created what we called the C-suite. It was really just those C-level positions, and that's kind of developed over time as well. But we have a CFO that can help you with, all the finances. And again, same thing, like at what point should I go to a C Corp or an S Corp? What are some of those strategies? We've got marketing, we've got sales, we've got operations, we've got all those different tiers that you're going to need inside your business. And that way, when it's time to go granular, we teach a foundational principle of how to build the business. But when it's time to go granular, you can actually book a session one-on-one with the coach that's in the lane that you actually need help in. So if this month it's sales, book a call with our sales coach. If this month it's marketing, book a call with our marketing coach. And that way you can actually start to get tactics inside of each lane.
That is wonderful. Now, I also understand y'all have some programs, and you also even help with grants for nonprofit and for-profit companies. Tell me a little bit about what programs and grant writing opportunities you have.
Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of people think that grants are primarily for the nonprofits. There's actually a lot of for-profit grants. So we've worked with a lot of businesses to get some funding for labor. There are grants that will actually help you to do labor inside of your particular industry, depending on where you're at. There's a lot of grants that'll help you purchase products, depending on if you're in some sort of there's a big push right now for solar or energy saving companies. So if you're a company that does stuff like that, there's a lot of cool grants that can help you with funding inside of that. So we've got a grant writer on staff. She actually is on this podcast. She's pretty awesome. She's interviewing me like she isn't a part of this, but she is, that's like her superpower, and she's really good at it. And that's the thing is we really want to help you, again, not just develop strategies to grow your business, but talk to you about things that are going to help you, like grants. Grants can help you with money, which is a big problem for a lot of, if you talk to a business owner and ask them what they can have more of today, they'd probably tell you money, people and money. So if we can give you ways to get free money inside your business, if we can introduce you to grants inside your industry, and then more importantly, help you write them and be successful inside of them, what a cool tool for those businesses. So yeah, we try really hard to introduce them to this awesome resource of grant writing.
Grant writing. Well, Justin, I've really enjoyed talking with you today. Number one, I love Get Local myself personally. Obviously, I'm one of your coaches on your team, but I love your heart and your passion and your enthusiasm for local businesses. I know for myself, when COVID hit and I began to see more and more local businesses go away, it kind of hurt my heart personally because, to me, that was someone's dream had also closed and had died, so to speak, for that time, that season maybe. But I think that what you provide, because of your heart and your passion for those local businesses, is amazing. And, I hope that through our podcast that people will spread the word. And so how do people contact you? I mean, it's a great program. People going to want to join in droves after this podcast today. So how do they contact you? How do they join Get Local?
So you can go to www.getlocalconnect.com. And you can get all the information. You can look at all the different packages that we offer. You can email us, Justin@getlocalsc.com or JoAnne@getlocalsc.com. And then we've got all the social media platforms. So we've got Get Local SC on Instagram and Facebook. We're looking to combine the two. We've also got Get Local Connect on Instagram and Facebook. The reason why is because it's kind of a split between B2B and B2C, but we're going to try to blend those together a little bit. But check out both Get Local SC and Get Local Connect on Instagram and Facebook.
Well, I would like to end our podcast with something. I think I'm going to end all of our podcasts going forward with it, but I'm going to ask you a question, a funny question. So you have to think really hard on this one. But give me, if you could choose one superpower, what would it be and why?
It would probably be power to fly, because then I could fly wherever I wanted. I wouldn't have to drive anymore. I've got kids. And driving with kids is a nightmare. I've got a baby, actually. That's what makes it a nightmare, because it just screams the whole time. So I'd fly, because then I'd get there really quick. I wouldn't have traffic. I'd be above everyone. And until the airline got mad at me and told me I had to be regulated, I'd be good.
You'd be good. Well, Justin, I appreciate your time today, especially having a new baby in the house. Thank you for coming out and joining me on our very first Get Local podcast, where our conversations are going to be real and raw with local entrepreneurs. I want to give a special shout out to 864 Sound in Greenville, South Carolina. If you're interested in a podcast, please contact Brandon. You can give him a call at 864-414-5560 or shoot him an email to Brandon@864sound.com. So get your podcast going. One of the things I will tell you is every marketer out there tells you you cannot bring your customers to your platform. You have to go to theirs. And so podcasting is a great way, another great way, whatever you're doing, to reach a new audience. So thank you to Brandon for setting up our podcast today. Thank you for coming and joining us. And thank you for watching. We will see you next week. Until then, bye.